Classic.
Wild again, Gate Dancer, Chicago in between them. Ferdinand has the lead. SKYDIVER, the final turn.
Sunday silence, a threatening presence on the outside.
AP Indy is finding his best stride. Here is our king, Cigar. Cigar makes his move.
Here comes the horse again, who's flying in between horses.
This is unbelievable. Zenyatta, Zenyatta, Zenyatta.
A wild finish to the Classic.
The Lion has won it ahead.
And when you look at the Classic, everybody is making some sort of what they think is a legitimate excuse for the also-rans, particularly with Swiss Skydiver and Tom's ETAT. Swiss Skydiver, obviously the break didn't help, but it was pretty clear that with 7.5 furlongs, 8 to 7.5 furlongs to go, she had every opportunity to get her gears going and the cylinders cranking, and the horsepower just wasn't there. Whether you think there was a bounce effect from the Preakness or she didn't like the racetrack, I just think that when you have a little bit of time to negotiate a strategy, even if you think it's a plan B strategy with a class filly like that, that you expect a little bit more in the stretch. So I think that that's a wash, not a complete illegitimate statement made by those who believe it, but I think it's just something that I'm just not a believer that bad breaks literally and ultimately cost you races, especially route races, for all intent and purposes, whether the pace is fast, slow, or tepid. It wasn't like she was 45 lengths behind and having to make up a ton of ground off that bad break. Tom's ETAT, the break was what everybody thought cost him in the Whitney. That got, I think, not completely disproved because Improbable came right back in this race where everything was fair game and ran a wonderful race in finishing second to Authentic, whereas Tom's ETAT, he just didn't do any running. And whether you want to resort to basically the book of excuses and turn to whatever page it is where having an 8-week break or 10-week break is in the contents. The bottom line is Al Stahl threw out and basically broadcast what the plan was, which was to not have a plan, to have a prep after the Whitney for the Breeders' Cup Classic. It was well documented, so everybody knew that, you know, everyone's narrative was that he was getting this horse right, and he'd done a wonderful job, and he had. But in this case, against these kind of horses, as one particular broadcaster said, that when Tom's ETAT runs against the best horses, he loses. So again, he beat some decent ones in the Stephen Foster, and he beat Improbable fair and square at Oaklawn in the Oaklawn Mile. But with that layoff against this caliber of horse, it's a lot to ask, even for a horse of his ability. And I just don't think there's really any viable excuse. The same that could be said for Tiz the Law. Sure, he didn't get the ideal post, but you've got 10 furlongs to work out a decent trip and get the ideal position. And I think Manny Franco, maybe he was restraining the horse a little bit, but he just had no firepower in the stretch. Not so much to not only hit the board much, I mean, he just didn't have the firepower to hit the board, much less win it. And he was just completely outgunned in this race. And I just don't think that really you can offer a ton of excuses, enough to fill the National Enquirer and some other notable publication. So I think that excuses aside, when it comes to the Breeders' Cup, there really isn't a lot of room for it. As one wise man once told me, you can do two things in life. You can make money, you can make excuses, you can make money, but you can't do both. But we'll sit and talk more about the scenarios and the aftermath of the Breeders' Cup, the championship ramifications, Horse of the Year, and so forth, right here at the CS Racing Report. And here's a bonus tribute to our wonderful journalists that cover the world of thoroughbred racing. Take a look.
And they're into the stretch, and here we go.
Hey, ladies! The ladies.
Look forward to just kind of feeling that again at the racetrack. It is time now for our Breeders' Cup Classic report.
After a title at Keeneland and a good start to Churchill Downs, things are heading into the Breeders' Cup in real forward fashion for Brad Cox.
So we'll check on Wesley Ward a little bit later, but for more at Churchill Downs, we'll check in with Peyton Brader.
Joel Rosario could have a big 2 days as well with Jackie's Warrior and the Juvenile. Uni trying to repeat the Breeders' Cup Mile, and Tom's ETAT.
It is Steve Asmussen busy with works this morning, and another trainer that'll be busy this morning as he was yesterday is trainer Wesley Ward.
Baffert is a master at getting the horses to go a mile and a quarter, and it is on full display here.
And yeah, if they're good enough, I think the 3-year-olds have the quality to get the job done. I mean, the race goes through, I hate to say it again, it's time and time again, Bob Baffert.
And they're into the stretch.
It's
almost like DJ Khaled when it comes to the Steve Asmussen barn. Here's another one.
And here we go!
Joe Vasquez, you're in the Hall of Fame. You've won 3 Kentucky Derbies. You've won 17 Breeders' Cup races. This is your first Classic win, but you just said, oh my God, what a feeling. Tell me what that feeling is.
She did it again! Monomoy girl in Florida Road!
You think she was into it? Has she caught her breath? Brittany?
I have barely caught my breath. I'm completely biased, but I could not be more proud of you right now.
Thank you, David.
As Brittany said, 37 international competitors this time round, a testament to the extraordinary endeavours of the racing office at the Breeders' Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much. We've got 14 races to draw.
As we get ready for what has become a mainstay for sports fans. I do 14 races, over $30 million in purse, but I think a lot of sports fans, even with the football games going on, will be flipping back and forth. Hello everyone, I'm Kenny Rice.
And they're into the stretch. Here comes Carnella, storming down the center of the course.
I think he is breathing fire and sitting on tilt. I think he's going to win a big race.
Chase the ball, trying to make a run, but it's authentic in front.
But when the real running started, there was nothing there.
Improbable, the global campaign, Tacitus, tis the law, all behind authentic. Authentic has won the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Monomoy girl in front as they come down to the line. She did it again. Monomoy girl wins the Distaffer.
This is the best race she has ever run. Best race of her career in her 15th lifetime start. And that's saying a lot, I think, because she's run so many good races in the past. And speaking of Brad Cox, here we go again. His fourth win in the Breeders' Cup this year.
And Jerry Bailey turns him loose. Here is our king to win in an absolute shocker. And Jerry Bailey turns him loose. Concern from all the crowds. And Jerry Bailey turns him loose. Cigar makes his move. And he sweeps to the lead with a dramatic rush. And Jerry Bailey turns him loose. And Nick's goal just keeps on going.
So everybody at home, change all your picks later to horses at half speed because these fractions were insane in this race and the leader still held on. It was like a merry-go-round.
Monomoy girl in front. Monomoy girl wins the Distaff by 2 lengths on the line for Florent Giroux in 1 minute 47.84 seconds. And they're into the stretch. She has put a racer in getting up this, and she's pulling away. Oh, what a super finish! The lead, and it's Order of Australia. He's 73-1. It's Ed Pearl, all by herself. Essential quality has won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He won the Derby. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's authentic indeed.
In one of the deepest classic fields we have seen in years.